Morning folks, quick pre-market update, a couple of minutes, better than nothing. I've got a little gap now. Let's quickly look at currencies. We just went long on the pound and short on the dollar yen. This one's got a rising wedge. Let's have a look at this one very quickly. Don't have a lot of time. Rising wedge on the dollar yen. This is the day chart. Let's have a look at the 4-hour chart. And I actually put a tweet up on X. So I've taken the stochastic off, but we've got stochastic divergence on the 4-hour chart. And that's rising, expecting this to fall. Also, notice that the dollar index has now finally reached around about the 200 period moving average. So I'm now looking for this to start turning around. We've had 13 days in a row upwards. Today's number 14. It should not carry on. Mostly when you get to 13 days, that's about enough. But we've got the 200 average just above us. That's the 200 SMA. We've also got this order block on the underside of this channel, which we might have to test as well. So that's a little bit further above us, another 0.5 to 0.75%. In any event, we've gone short already on the dollar yen, and we're also long on the pound. We got long right at the bottom this morning. It's had a nice little bounce. The timing wasn't what I planned. I didn't expect it to suddenly bounce, but it did. And we had a nice little rally, about 35 or maybe 40 pips up now. So that's all good. I'm not going to talk about stocks today, except to say that you know my positions. I'm short on the NASDAQ and the S&P, looking for that divergence and the rising wedges to form a top. We may not have a top yet. There are plenty of areas for these to move up into a little bit higher and continue to melt up. But I'm starting to edge into the shorts now, and I think the risk is now more to the downside. As a result, Bitcoin has just sold off just down to the 20-period moving average here on this 4-hour chart and butting up against this very long-term channel, what some people are now calling a bull flag. I'm not convinced just yet until we break out through the top. A flag must be confirmed by breakout. We haven't had that yet. We've tried for 2 days now to get through that top, this order block and the purple descending channel line. Once we get through there, we've got another obstacle higher up, which we'll deal with later, into the sort of low 70s. But we have to get closed above 68,000. Until we do that, we're still pretty ambivalent about the direction of Bitcoin. We've reached the first sort of hurdle. We've got to get through there. Nothing really on gold and the other metals, although we are long on platinum from about 980, and that's looking good, actually 960. And gold, we just took profit at the top here. It's also looking a bit toppish, actually. And we're seeing these rising wedges on the stocks, on some of the energies, and now on gold. Bitcoin just looking weak. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But we've taken profit on gold. We're out of gold completely for now, looking for dips to pull back into to buy at. Not sure where those will be just yet. But we could get a decent dip on gold. Let's just quickly look at this chart. We've got several trend lines on gold. Let's get rid of this green line because that is already played out. So we've got this shorter term trend line, a medium one and a long one. So we've got the 3 angles, and the first angle is the one that's got to go before we get to the next ones. And once we've got 3 angles, the drop from the first to the second should be quite steep. And notice that the second angle is down into the 200 period moving average and this order block. So we could get back down all the way down to about 2.3, something like that. Alternatively, we might test a slightly higher, maybe 2.7, 2.8, but we are due for a correction. Once gold starts correcting and pulling back, you can see we're going to have very long periods of consolidation, and that's the nature of gold. A dramatic rally, which kind of leaves everyone behind and everyone gets caught out. Sorry, my fan's just gone on because we had an electricity problem, so I've got the battery still charging there. So that's what gold does. It goes into these long periods of consolidation after these dramatic rallies, which tend to lock people out. In fact, we've had 3 in the last couple of years. There's one move sideways, second move sideways for not quite as long, and then third move. And that might be the final move before a much deeper correction, and even down to this longer term trend line down here. So trade this carefully, and if you are long, there's no problem with that, but you might need or think about hedging if we break down this intermediate low here at about 2,600, and particularly if we get down through this longer term trend line, well, medium. It's not longer term, but it's quite long. It's actually the short, steeper trend line. If we get through there, notice the 50-period moving averages there too. That should form some basis for support. But if we break down there, and we probably get a pattern like this, if this does happen, I'm not saying it will, something like this, like we could then break down. These lines are just, I'm not drawing them very well, but I'm trying to give you an idea. So break down, pull back, resumption down to the second angle, and maybe even all the way down to the third angle. So be very cautious on gold. This is not going to keep on going up forever. It never does. So going to natural gas, just bouncing from here. You've seen this picture. Let's go to the Henry Hub chart and switch this to the day chart. We've just touched the trend line, rising up from the bottom in August. We're making higher highs and higher lows. So we are in an uptrend. The trend line's facing upwards, but we're below all the moving averages, except for the 200. And the 200 is just below us over here. This is a very, very key level. It's the 61.8% Fibonacci. It's the trend line. We're oversold. The 200 period moving average is just below us. And we've got an uptrend. We've got higher highs and higher lows. We are actually in an uptrend, even though it doesn't feel like it. And we're waiting to see if this carries on bouncing from here. Let's go to the 4-hour chart, and you can see we're just forming some reversal candles. I have not added on a new long position just yet. I'm waiting for this 4-hour candle to close. And if that does close in a positive manner with a bullish engulfing candle, maybe another spike low, something like that, we've got a couple of hours to wait before that rolls over. But that's looking quite good at that support level. I'm not going to rush into that just yet. And when I do, it'll be with a relatively small and cautious position. Going across to the Rand, a bit of a big bounce up there. We'll probably have to get to the underside of that channel line. Have a look at my previous videos. I don't want to go into too much detail. We're long on TLT, we're long on VIX, and we're short on cocoa. And that one's moving back down again after a slightly worrisome spike yesterday, but only up to the 78.6% fib, and then a strong rejection. When we do reject off the 786, and resume the trend and carry on moving down like we have done, with a big dark cloud cover candle there, and then a rejection off the 618 today, and then a resumption of the move back down below this pattern, it bodes well. If that is rejecting and it carries on moving down, that means this move could be quite powerful off the 786. It's very, very windy outside. I'm sure you can hear it. A couple of other things on here. We're long on soya. That's just breaking down back to almost our break-even point. We took another long position there at 78.6, and I will hedge this if it breaks down through the bottom. We've got nothing on coffee or corn, but we are now long on cotton, and we're short on orange juice, and we're long on wheat. Just took that trade yesterday. Right, going back to natural gas, looking quite good actually since we last looked at this chart just a few minutes ago, bouncing off beautifully off that trend line and off that Fibonacci level. And the blob that I drew in yesterday, that's the area that, if you remember, and I'll link the video at the end of this one, where I said we'd probably bounce, or at least try and bounce, and it looks like we are trying. Well, we are, but whether that's going to continue or not, we'll find out. It's got another 1.5 hours to go. And so we'll see how this candle closes up. And if it does look good, I might add a little bit more, a small long tranche to natural gas. Bitcoin's just bouncing as I'm speaking. I really want this to hold this 20 period moving average on the 4-hour chart. We have rejected from here, and we'd expect that to happen. Actually rejected 2 days in a row, one there, and then yesterday, the whole day we tried to get through there, failed to do that. But we've come back down to the 20 period moving average, simple period moving average on this 4-hour chart. The last time we got to the 20 period simple moving average, we bounced off it perfectly, and it's a very, very good short-term support or resistance momentum direction indicator. And the best case scenario would be to bounce strongly off this 20 period moving average on the 4-hour. If that doesn't work out, the 20 period moving average on the daily chart's quite a long way below us, and that would be the next pullback level. It's also where the 200-day moving average is as well. And so we've had a breakout through those two MAs, but we haven't had the pullback just yet. We don't always have to have that, but it would be nice if we did, to gather some more liquidity there for a big, strong move up. If we don't get the pullback, we should then resume. And once again, I drew this in yesterday's video with a very sketchy sort of mouse drawing tool. We should get a breakout pullback into that top order block, and then a resumption and a retest of this top zone here. That was the all-time high. So could we get that sort of thing? I think we could. Let's wait and see. My target for Bitcoin is about 104. If not that, then about 94, maybe 98. So we're long on that and still holding most of our trade position. We took 30% profit yesterday at the top. Right, stocks aren't doing much, so not much else to say about that. The market opens in an hour. Hopefully you'll get this video before the market opens. And then on the currencies, yeah, not much change. Pound just moving up, dollar yen moving down. And we've also got a small long position on the euro right there. I was looking to add more to the euro, but we added more to the pound instead. In fact, I forgot to draw this arrow up. So we took a long position on the pound about an hour ago, and that's going quite well, about 30 or 40 pips in profit. Okay, folks, I'm going to rush this video out to you before the market opens. Hopefully you'll get it then. And if you did like this sort of content, I'd love your like, share, and subscribe. The links are below. Just click it. Costs you nothing. Takes 1 second. See you soon.
Stock in hand, feel the thrill. Commodities, the deals to steal. Ooh yeah. Buy the dips, let it rise. Ride the wave, no surprise. Charts and graphs, they never lie. Market moves, watch them fly. Dance with money, spin.